Japanese homes are highly varied. You have palaces, you have the homes of the wealthy, but I want to look at sort of the general home. And in this case, it's the minka, or people's house. It's a Japanese country house, traditionally built with simple materials, and it takes on a number of different forms. We're going to simplify it a little bit to look at their idea of the home and the interior space. Now, these traditional homes, as I said, take on a number of different forms. So, for example, a farmer's house might have a thatched roof made up of straw or grasses that basically stick straight out, or the idea is that they stick more or less straight out, so that the rain, when it lands, basically gets run off the side. Whereas a merchant's house might have a tiled roof, something much more expensive, and plastered walls rather than a dirt-floored room. So we see a lot of variety, and depending on where you are, for example, coastal areas or areas towards southern Japan, you might see more homes on stilts. So there's a wide range of variation. Now, here's your typical Japanese farmhouse. Here's the thatching, so you get a sense of what's going on here. The thatch is laid in such a way, like I said, that it points more or less straight out, and then the water runs right down it. As long as it's thick enough, it will do just fine. But it needs to be replaced on a regular basis because, of course, it's an organic material. It will basically compost on your roof over time. Typically, there are going to be weights on top of it as well to hold it in place. Otherwise, the first good wind could take your thatching off. And that's where you saw, for example, that big ridge pole and weights across the shrine of Amaterasu. Inside is very interesting and very simple. We have a hearth, which we'll get to in a little bit. In the middle, we have animals. Although they're blocked off from the rest of the space, they're still basically in the living structure, in the living building. You'll also notice there's no chimney. This is going to be a dark and smoky place. Although they have more windows that they use, as we've dealt with in other videos, so you have a little more cross ventilation, but that's still all running up into the roof. And you see the structure is not really subdivided. It's one giant structure, and then they can subdivide it with various screens and room dividers. Now, I want to compare that to what we saw in the Gothic and Romanesque, where we see these structures, typical European farmhouse, which is, again, very simply subdivided, very similar idea. Thatched roof, similar idea. In fact, even the roof line being very steep is very similar. In Japan, they're doing it because they want that steep roof line to run the snow off. In Europe, they're using it because it allows for basically the same thing, for snow to run off, but also allows for some space for smoke to collect, so that it's not sitting right down here with the people. In Europe, you're going to see animals inside the space. Same thing in Japan with the hearth in the center without a chimney. Now, where we get into differences is this in Europe, as we get into the Gothic, etc., we'll start to subdivide and we'll see different rooms, whereas in Japan, we won't see that as much. So here's our typical farmhouse for the Japanese medieval period. You'll see it's very, very open. Part of it, an earthen floor, part of it is going to be covered. So the earthen floor is the more practical side of things, the area where you might have storage, etc. And then the more formal side is going to be covered, usually with wood or some other material. They'll use bamboo and other wood materials throughout, but this is very simple construction, and windows will often simply be exposed wattle. In other words, that's the framework that the plaster is laid on, and they simply don't lay plaster over an area, creating a window. It is very common to have both low and high windows because sometimes you want that low breeze to come in and take the smoke up into the rafters. You don't want hanging out down low to the ground. So we're going to see something like this in practicality. So here we see the wood construction creating the more formal space. We see the earthen floor, and we see that very Well, some might call it primitive construction, where they're taking the wood beams, and unlike in Europe where they're squaring everything off, they're using what they have. So if it's a curved wood beam, well, so be it. They're going to find a way to use it. In the center of the home, rather than a hearth, we're going to see an irori. This is a traditional sunken hearth, and it serves exactly the same purpose as the hearth in Europe. In Europe, it would be lined or circled with stone, for example. Here, it is sunken into the floor. Usually, the pit will be lined with clay or stone. The fire is built in the middle. So, of course, you can have a wood lining. It's not going to burn the wood as such, as long as the fire is kept under control. And this is a really useful form of cooking because anything in here is going to be kept warm. For example, if I have a stew or something that needs a long time, I can put it off to the side. If I'm boiling something, I'll put it in a pot right over. Usually there's a chain system to hold materials over the flame so that, of course, you don't run into that problem of having to hold it yourself. Now, this is a great form of cooking, but you'll notice it is stuck in one place. I can't do much with it. I can't move it around. Although it does warm the space as well as cooking our food. This is where the hibachi comes in. The hibachi is basically a box that I cook in. The opening where the fire is going to sit, usually with charcoal instead of wood, that's going to be lined first with clay. Later editions, such as this one, will be lined with copper to keep that fire in place. And of course, you have an air gap between the copper and any wood that would be touching it. Air being a very poor conductor of heat. So you're not going to get the heat from the cooking surface radiating out and burning the wood surface surrounding. Typically, you're going to have a series of drawers on either side. These are basic storage. And there will be handles so that I can actually move it around the home. This makes it really useful. And these hibachis can be made out of porcelain, wood, as we see here. Sometimes you'll see iron versions that look more like a bowl with a grill over the top. But this is where we get the idea of the hibachi grill. It's really useful if I'm cooking a small amount of material very quickly. And it could be used in the home along with the in-ground hearth that we just looked at. So when we look at the interior construction of the home, it's very pragmatic. It really is reminiscent of what we saw in medieval Europe, using the materials that they have around them. The difference is they tend not to alter nature. So, for example, the wood beams here are curved, so they will use that to their advantage, rather than trying to take the wood and carve it into a perfect square beam, the more European form. This gets at a deep difference between Japan and Europe, which is Japan looks at nature as something that man lives within. Man must basically shape their lives to nature, and the Japanese tend to be a very nature-loving people. We see that in Shintoism. But in Europe, we tend to think of man versus nature. And so we see the squared off beams and the alteration of natural surfaces on a regular basis.